What if I told you there's a silent force, an invisible thief, that has been systematically draining your bank account every single day? It operates in broad daylight, yet most people don't see it. You've earned your money, saved it, but when you go to use it, it's somehow worth less. This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's a fundamental feature of our modern economy. But who designed this system, and why does it feel like it's rigged against you? To understand the quiet theft happening in your wallet, we have to go back in time, to a world shattered by war and a decision that changed money forever. Our story begins in 1944, in a small town in New Hampshire, Bretton Woods. The world was exhausted from war, and global leaders gathered to design a new, stable economic order. Their solution was ingenious. They pegged all major currencies to the US dollar, but the dollar itself was tied to something real, something tangible, gold. For every 35 US dollars in the world, there was 1 ounce of gold sitting in a vault. This was the gold standard. It acted as an anchor, a promise that your money was backed by a physical, finite resource. For a while, this system brought unprecedented stability and prosperity. It was the golden age of capitalism. But this promise, this anchor, held a secret flaw. A flaw that one president would expose, setting in motion the very system that silently erodes your wealth today. For the system to work, the United States had to maintain enough gold to back all the dollars in circulation. But as the 1960s rolled on, America's spending began to spiral. The Vietnam War and ambitious social programs required printing more and more money. Other countries started to get nervous. They looked at the mountains of dollars the US was creating and realized there wasn't enough gold to back it all up. They began trading their dollars for gold, and America's reserves started to dwindle. The anchor was slipping. The breaking point came on a quiet Sunday evening, August 15, 1971. President Richard Nixon appeared on national television and made a shocking announcement. He was temporarily suspending the dollar's convertibility into gold. The gold window was closed. That temporary suspension became permanent. In that moment, money changed forever. The world's currencies, including the dollar, became fiat currencies backed by nothing but government promise and public trust. The fallout was immediate and profound. Without the discipline of gold, there was no longer a hard limit on how much money could be created. Governments and central banks now had the power to print money at will, and they did. This newfound power seemed like a magic fix for economic problems. Need to fund a war, print money. Economy slowing down, print money. But this wasn't free money. Every new dollar printed diluted the value of all the existing dollars. This, right here, is the origin of modern inflation as we know it. It's not just prices going up, it's the value of your money going down. The purchasing power of a dollar in 1971 is equivalent to less than 15 cents today. Your money has lost over 85% of its value. That is the silent thief at work. Of course, central banks tried to fix this. They created inflation targets, usually around 2% per year. The idea was to keep the economy growing gently without letting inflation run wild. They used tools like interest rates to try and control it. When inflation gets too high, they raise interest rates to make borrowing more expensive and cool the economy down. When the economy is weak, they lower rates to encourage spending. But these are blunt instruments in a complex system. Often, their actions are too little, too late. Worse, this system creates a vicious cycle. To stimulate growth, they lower rates and print money, which causes inflation. To fight inflation, they raise rates, which can cause a recession. It's a constant, reactive balancing act, and you, the saver, are often the one who pays the price for their experiments. So how does this history connect directly to your life today? Look at the past few years. In response to the 2020 global crisis, governments and central banks unleashed an unprecedented tidal wave of new money. Trillions of dollars were created out of thin air to support the economy. What was the predictable result? A massive surge in inflation, the highest in 40 years. The price of groceries, gas, and housing soared. It wasn't random. It was a direct cause and effect consequence of the decisions made, tracing all the way back to that pivotal moment in 1971. The silent thief just got a lot louder. History isn't just repeating itself, it's echoing the same fundamental principles. When you disconnect money from a real-world anchor and give humans the power to create it endlessly, its value will inevitably decline. So what can we learn from all this? First, understand that inflation is not a bug in the system, it is a feature. A steady, low level of inflation incentivizes you to spend or invest your money rather than save it, which keeps the economic gears turning. It also makes it easier for governments to pay off their massive debts with devalued currency. Second, saving money in a traditional bank account is a guaranteed way to lose purchasing power over time. The interest you earn is almost always lower than the true rate of inflation. Your savings are melting like an ice cube on a hot day. And third, to protect your wealth, you must put your money to work. You have to invest in assets that can outpace inflation, things like stocks, real estate, or other stores of value that aren't easily devalued by money printing. The rules of the game have changed, and simply earning and saving is no longer enough. The silent thief is always at work. The only question is, what will you do to protect yourself from it? I hope this journey through the history of money has armed you with a new perspective. If you found this explanation valuable and want to learn more about how to navigate our complex financial world, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Let me know in the comments what you think. Is inflation a necessary evil or a fundamental flaw? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.